Hello and welcome. I am Raziel, and so I was meant to do a mantic video last week, because I did miss my last week's lore video. So there's gonna be two lore videos this week, and today I'm covering mantic, and I'm gonna be covering Kings of War. I was meant to do Firefight, but I can't find my book for review, for reading and research. So Kings of War it is, and today we're going to do the people who tend to want to live in very cold places, the Northern Alliance. Now, the Northern Alliance, as like I said, they like to live in the coldest place on entirety of Panafor because, I don't know, they want to, I suppose. Anyway, we'll get to why in a minute. So, anyway, how it all started. Well, there was this elven prince, and let me make sure I get his name right, Talinor Valilian. Too many L's. Anyway, there was this half prince called Talinor, and he was, he's doing his elven princely stuff, looking down his nose at everyone, being a right snob, being, your general elf. And he was doing this as a prince, and he was like, oh, look at me, I'm so nice and I'm a prince, and lovely. Right? And then one day, he goes, I'm bored, and he decides to leave. Like, he just goes, right, I'm bored, I'm off. God. And he does. He just gets up and leaves. And this isn't even recorded. It's like basically he's one day there, next day he's gone. It's gone. The elves don't even know, sort of like completely stumped on why he just decided to leave. But he was bored, so he decided to travel Panafor for a short while. Couple of centuries is short while for an elf. And so he travels well Panafor, and he goes, oh look, this is very pretty. He goes to all the tropical beaches. He goes to the deserts, checks the jungles out. He sees all the restaurants and hotels. He's having a good old time of exploring Panafor, and he's just, he's just having fun. And while he was travelling, and he got bored of that, he's like, oh, centuries travelling now, I'm just bored. I want to set up shop somewhere. I just want to sit down, have a nice place where I can call my own, and that will be it. So he chooses a nice, warm, tropical area. Wait, no. He chooses the ass end of nowhere, which is covered in ice, and that's it. Okay. Wow. And so, in the end, he traded everything, and he just settled up in the north. And he would basically what he does, he sold his heirlooms, and he sold them to ogres just for protection. Like, ogres are mercenaries anyway. It's like, dude, I'm gonna live here. Like, dudes, big dudes, all you big dudes, you're gonna protect me. You can have all this gold and cool stuff, which I have, which I don't need anymore, except apparently just fit clothing. And you protect me. And the ogres were like, okie dokie, let's make sure that's right. Ogres. Yes, ogres. Why did I think trolls? I don't know why I think so. And so he set up shop in something called the Chill. And that was it. That was his home now. And he thought, wow, I'm really cool. So, then carried on some mercenaries. And they just thought, what, we're going to carry on. And these humans decided, yeah, we're just mercenaries, or we don't really get a lot of respect, we don't really get a lot of fun time, we get a lot of, horrible stuff thrown at us, and they decide to move in too. And some other elves go, oh, that Talinor fella, he left, I wonder where he's gone, and they went there too. So basically, all these people, like elves and dwarves and humans, are just went up north and decided to get really cold instead of living anywhere else on the planet except, the deserts, or maybe wherever you only are, but that's like in hell, so I can't really count that one. Anyway, and the dwarves obviously wanted to see what upstairs looked like, above ground, and not what was underground. Underground was rocks, and basically above ground was lot less rocks. And so they all decided to move up and go. And Talon was like, yeah, come and join. Like, you're all cool. Join. This is really cool. And this was sort of a nice alliance for them all. They kind of thought, this is cool. Like, elves, humans, dwarves, all living in, basic tolerance of each other. They just didn't care. They were just getting on. There's even elves who decided to bang some humans, and we now have half elves or half humans who live up in Northern Alliance, because it's cold, the lights are long, they've got to think of something to do, and I don't know what the dwarves are doing, but apparently the elves and the humans are just getting their end away, as often as possible, that they can actually create entire regiments of their offspring. Yes. Anyway, there was constant raids from orcs and and goblins of the Iceblood Fjord, and they were this constant menace, and just kind of got to a point where I went, do you know what? We might need to use some ice trolls here. And so he did. So he got the ice trolls to try and beat up the orcs and the goblins. And that was the thing. Like, Talon was this good leader, but he wasn't always present. And he kind of left. It wasn't like a micromanager. He wasn't like, ooh, what are you doing? And, always hovering over his shoulder. So like, right, that's what you're doing. You just get on with that. You get on with that, and I'm going to do something over there. What am I going to do over there? I do not know. And that's kind of cool. And it's meant to be this very hippie-esque place where everyone gets along, sings songs, drum sets, whatever they call them. Drum rings, that's the one. And everyone's just having this good old time. But of course they have to fight as well because it is Panafor and, no one likes it. Now, scouts from the east decided that we're going out, doing their job, and they found some movement coming from the east. And more goblins! And so they ended up getting pushed back. When Alliance they had to then get pushed back from the chill, and then they set up even further north because they weren't going to give up their entire independence from the rest of Panafor for love nor money. So they decided to work, and they did. And this massive giant, this one massive ice giant, let's make sure I get their name right, because if I don't, I'm going to be really silly. And this massive giant decided to fight for the Northern Alliance. And but then what was it? Grimjaw sacrificed herself. It was a girl. There you go. So the Northern Alliance could escape and move further northward. And now her bones are this big, nice place, which, is sentimental value and all that. And she's this legend among all of the Northern Alliance because while they were running away and retreating, she was the one that was just deciding that green wasn't the colour that she wanted to see, just lots and lots of red. Apparently, the red that comes from lots and lots of orcs and goblins. And it took them a while to take her down. And it brought the Northern Alliance to enough time to get away. And that's how it pretty much ended up. It's just fun. Now, they've all gone up north, and they're kind of upset because, they had to leave one home to go to another. But the Northern Alliance, as a whole, is basically this nice group of people, of species, like I said, elves, humans, dwarves, ogres, etc. All getting on really nice. I wonder why we don't see any half ogres. Half ogre, half dwarf. It would be like human-sized, but fatter. And, I would actually say about halflings, but that brings up so many more questions that I don't think I want to really have in my mind right now. Anyway, so, now, they are this nice, very tolerant, very, very, very nice. And they, they set up their homes, but they will still defend. They are very much going to defend their homes. They're not a big fan of going out and attacking because why would they? They're not the biggest alliance. They're not the biggest army. They are quite small. But even though they do show a lot of respect for everyone else as well. Anyway, thank you very much for this incredibly poorly explained lore on the Northern Alliance for Kings of War. And I'll see you in the next one. If you wish to save money on your Warhammer, Wargaming, War Mantic, Kings of War, all that cool stuff, check out Wayland Games down below, as always, and you get up to 20% off and free delivery up to £20. There's also Forbidden Planet as well, for your comics, DVDs, mangas, etc, etc, etc. And there's also my merchandise, my comics, my t-shirts, what everyone else does. I'd rather you go to any of those, if you want to, okay, just do any of that. If you want to support the channel, it'll be great. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. Okay, you watched the video, and I'm happy. And there's also Skyforge, someone I do not get paid to. He's a good friend of mine, so I want to promote him and get him up that Google algorithm. Just give him a click and have a look if you like Pokemon cards. And finally, Patreon, because business. Bye-bye.